Maya had always felt like life was moving too fast for her. Every morning, she woke up to the same sound of traffic outside her small apartment and the relentless buzzing of her alarm clock. She worked a job that paid the bills but gave little satisfaction, and every day seemed like a repetition of the last. She often thought about the dreams she had once held, dreams that now felt like distant whispers in the back of her mind. It was a rainy evening when everything changed, although Maya didn't know it yet. She was hurrying down the street, her umbrella turned inside out by the wind, her bag slipping from her shoulder. Her mind was crowded with worries, bills she could barely pay, a family member she worried about, and her own uncertain future. She barely noticed the people rushing past her, each absorbed in their own hurried lives. As she struggled with her umbrella, she bumped into a man who was helping an elderly woman cross the street. He had a calm presence that made him stand out, even in the crowd of busy pedestrians. Maya's bag slipped completely, spilling its contents across the wet sidewalk. Papers, a small notebook, and her wallet scattered on the ground. The man didn't hesitate. He knelt down and started helping her gather everything, while the elderly woman smiled at the simple act of kindness. "Thank you," Maya said, trying to catch her breath. Her voice was a little shaky, part from the exertion and part from the sudden attention. "You're welcome," the man replied, his voice gentle. "It's not a problem. Happens to all of us sometimes." For a moment, Maya felt a strange comfort in the simplicity of the interaction. She didn't know him, yet his calm, steady presence made her feel like the weight of the world had lifted slightly from her shoulders. She didn't ask his name, and he didn't offer it. They simply went their separate ways after that small encounter. But something about the way he had stopped, even in his own busy day, to help a stranger lingered in her mind. Days passed, and Maya found herself thinking about that brief moment more often than she expected. Life continued its usual rhythm, but there was a new awareness inside her. She noticed small acts of kindness around her, someone helping a child with a heavy backpack, a commuter offering a seat to an elderly passenger. Each time she remembered the man who had helped her, she began to feel that maybe life wasn't only about the struggle. Maybe there were moments of unexpected grace if one paid attention. Despite these reflections, Maya's personal challenges did not pause. She had to decide whether to accept a job offer in a different city. It was everything she had wanted in her career, but the thought of leaving her family and everything familiar was terrifying. Her nights were sleepless, filled with questions about whether she was ready for such a leap. She felt alone, uncertain, and overwhelmed. One afternoon, she went to the park to clear her mind. The rain had stopped, but the grass was still damp and the air smelled of earth and wet leaves. She sat on a bench watching children play and dogs chase after sticks. She pulled out her notebook, hoping to find clarity by writing down her thoughts, but the words wouldn't come. She felt stuck in a fog of doubt and fear. It was then that she noticed someone walking toward her. It was the same man who had helped her days ago. He smiled, a quiet, understanding smile, and sat on the bench a respectful distance away. Maya felt a mix of surprise and curiosity. She hadn't expected to see him again. "You look like you have a lot on your mind," he said softly. Maya nodded, unsure of why she felt comfortable speaking to someone she barely knew. "I do. I have to make a big decision, and I don't know what's right." He listened without interruption, his presence calm and steady, as if he could absorb her worries without judgment. When she finished speaking, he didn't offer simple advice or cliches. Instead, he asked questions that made her think, questions that helped her see the situation from different angles. For the first time in weeks, Maya felt her mind clearing, even if only slightly. She realized that someone else noticing her struggles and taking the time to listen could make a difference. It reminded her that she wasn't as alone as she felt. They talked for what felt like hours, though the world continued around them. The sun began to peek through the clouds, casting a warm glow on the wet grass. Maya laughed at small jokes he made and found herself opening up about her fears and hopes in ways she hadn't with anyone else. By the time they parted ways, she didn't know if she would see him again, but she carried with her a sense of calm that had been missing for a long time. The encounter left a lasting impression. Over the next few days, Maya noticed changes in herself. She approached her work with a little more energy, finding small ways to solve problems and take initiative. She spent time with her family in ways she hadn't before, appreciating their support and love. She also began to see the city differently, noticing moments of kindness and connection that she had previously ignored. However, Life was not ready to pause its challenges. Maya still faced her decision about the new job, and the weight of responsibility pressed heavily on her shoulders. The stranger's words and presence had not removed the difficulty of her situation, but they had given her a new perspective. She realized that she could face her fears, step forward, and make choices without being paralyzed by doubt. As the days turned into weeks, Maya found herself actively looking for opportunities to help others. Inspired by the stranger's quiet act of kindness, she held doors open, helped colleagues, and offered a listening ear to friends in need. Each act, however small, reminded her of the ripple effect that even brief encounters could have. She began to understand that human connection, even fleeting, could change the course of someone's day or even their life. Through these small steps, Maya slowly regained her sense of self. She began to write in her notebook daily, reflecting on her goals and what mattered most to her. She realized that fear had kept her from taking chances, but hope and trust could guide her forward. She felt a growing sense of determination to face whatever came next, no matter how uncertain it seemed. Maya did not see the stranger again immediately, but his presence lingered in her mind. She often found herself thinking about the quiet way he had entered her life and the unexpected support he had offered. It reminded her that sometimes the most important people in our journey are those we barely know, yet who influence us profoundly. That small, selfless act had planted a seed of courage and hope in her heart, one that would continue to grow as she faced the next stages of her life. By the end of that month, Maya felt different. She still had challenges ahead, but she had discovered a resilience she didn't know she possessed. She realized that life's turning points often came from unexpected places, and sometimes all it took was one person's simple act of kindness to change everything. The memory of the stranger, his calm presence, and his willingness to help a complete stranger in a moment of need became a guiding light for her as she prepared to face the next chapter of her journey, ready to embrace whatever came her way with courage and hope. Maya spent the next few weeks in a state of reflection. Every morning she would wake with a sense of anticipation mixed with nervousness. The job opportunity in the new city loomed over her thoughts like a heavy cloud. She had dreamed of this chance for years, but now that it was within reach, the fear of stepping into the unknown threatened to hold her back. She would sit in her small apartment staring at the city skyline, wondering if she was truly ready for such a leap. Her daily routine became a mix of work, self-reflection, and quiet walks in the park. The stranger's words kept replaying in her mind, like fragments of advice stitched together by her subconscious. "It's okay to feel uncertain," he had said, "but you have to trust yourself and take the first step, even if it's small." At the time, she had only smiled and nodded, unsure of what it really meant. Now she felt the weight of those words settling in her mind, pushing her to consider that courage was not the absence of fear, but the act of moving forward despite it. One afternoon, she decided to visit the park again. The trees swayed gently in the wind, their leaves rustling with a sound that seemed to soothe her. She sat on the same bench where she had met the stranger, hoping to find clarity. As she watched children play and families enjoying the sunny day, she felt a mixture of envy and longing. Their lives seemed full of purpose and connection, while she struggled to find a path that felt meaningful. While lost in her thoughts, she noticed someone sitting at the far end of the bench. It was the stranger. He looked older and more worn than she remembered, but his calm presence was the same. Maya's heart skipped a beat, and she wondered if she should approach him. Before she could decide, he looked up and smiled warmly. "You're back," he said softly. Maya nodded, feeling an unexpected comfort in his presence. I needed to think," she admitted. "It's hard to make the right choice when everything feels so uncertain." He listened quietly as she spoke, her words tumbling out in a mixture of hope and fear. She told him about the job, about leaving her family, about the life she had dreamed of but now hesitated to pursue. He didn't offer solutions immediately. Instead, he asked questions that made her think deeply. "What would you regret more?" he asked. "Trying and failing, or never trying at all?" The question hit her harder than she expected. She realized that her fear of failure had been paralyzing her, preventing her from taking even the smallest steps forward. The stranger's presence gave her a sense of safety, as if she could explore these fears without judgment. By the time they parted ways that day, Maya felt a spark of determination she hadn't felt in weeks. She didn't know if she would succeed, but she knew she had to try. Encouraged by this renewed mindset, Maya began taking small steps to prepare for her move. She updated her resume, reached out to potential colleagues, and even researched apartments in the new city. Each small task gave her a sense of accomplishment, building her confidence slowly. However, life's challenges didn't pause. Her current job demanded long hours, her family needed her presence, and her financial situation remained tight. Despite the progress, Maya often found herself exhausted and overwhelmed. One evening, while returning from work, she received a call from her younger sibling. There had been a minor accident at home, nothing severe, but it required her immediate attention. Maya rushed back, leaving her own needs behind once again. She felt torn between responsibility and the desire to pursue her dreams. The weight of her choices pressed heavily on her heart, and she questioned whether she could manage everything without losing herself in the process. The following weekend, Maya decided to take a walk to clear her mind. She wandered through the city streets, passing cafes, small shops, and people hurrying along their own paths. The familiar chaos of the city reminded her of both the possibilities and the challenges that awaited her. As she turned a corner, she saw the stranger again, standing outside a small bookstore. He waved gently, and Maya felt a mix of relief and curiosity. "Mind if I join you?" he asked. They walked together through the quiet streets, talking about simple things, books, the changing seasons, and small joys in life. Then the conversation shifted. He asked her about her fears and her dreams, not in a judgmental way, but in a way that made her reflect on what truly mattered. Maya realized that she had been so focused on the practicalities and obstacles that she had forgotten to consider what she genuinely wanted for herself. He shared a story about a time when he had faced a similar choice, about leaving behind the familiar to pursue something uncertain. He spoke about the struggles, the mistakes, and the unexpected kindness he had received from strangers along the way. Maya listened intently, feeling a connection she couldn't explain. It was as if someone had walked this path before her and was now guiding her through the uncertainty. By the end of their walk, Maya felt lighter, though the challenges remained. She understood that she didn't need to have everything figured out immediately. What mattered was taking steps, however small, and trusting herself to handle whatever came next. The stranger's quiet support, his willingness to listen and share without asking for anything in return, gave her a sense of reassurance she had never experienced before. In the following days, Maya began to act on the small insights she had gained. She set up meetings with people in her future city, explored housing options online, and even started saving a little more aggressively. Each action, though modest, gave her a growing sense of control and purpose. She realized that her fears would not disappear entirely, but they could coexist with courage and hope. Even as she made these preparations, Maya continued to face setbacks. A project at work went awry, requiring her to stay late multiple nights. A close friend became distant, leaving her feeling isolated. Financial pressures persisted. Each obstacle tested her patience and resolve, yet she approached them differently now. She would pause, reflect, and remind herself of the lessons she had learned from the stranger. That life was unpredictable, that people could offer unexpected support, and that perseverance was often built in small, steady steps. One rainy evening, much like the one when they first met, Maya found herself walking home through the quiet streets. She paused at a familiar corner, reflecting on how far she had come in just a few weeks. Though the journey ahead was still uncertain, she felt a quiet strength growing inside her. She thought of the stranger, of his calm presence and his acts of kindness, and realized that even brief encounters could leave lasting impacts. His support had opened her eyes to possibilities she hadn't dared to consider, and for the first time in a long while, she felt ready to move forward with purpose. Maya's journey in those weeks was not marked by dramatic changes, but by quiet, persistent progress. She learned to balance fear with hope, responsibility with ambition, and uncertainty with preparation. She began to understand that life's challenges were not meant to be faced alone, and that accepting help did not diminish her strength. The stranger's guidance, though indirect, had shown her the value of human connection, empathy, and the courage to take even the smallest steps toward her dreams. As the weeks turned into a month, Maya found herself more confident, though not entirely free from doubt. She continued to prepare for her move, managing the responsibilities at home and work while keeping her long-term goals in sight. Each day was a blend of small victories and persistent challenges, yet the sense of direction she had gained gave her the motivation to keep going. She began to dream again, to plan and to envision a future that had once seemed impossible. Though the stranger remained a presence she seldom saw, his impact on her life was undeniable. He had not provided all the answers, but he had helped her discover them for herself. The courage to make difficult decisions, to face uncertainty, and to embrace her journey was now growing inside her, nurtured by the quiet, selfless support she had received. And in this space of hope and possibility, Maya began to see that her life could indeed change, one small step at a time, guided by her own determination and the unexpected kindness of a stranger who had shown her the way. Maya's life seemed to be slowly moving forward, but she could feel the tension building in the background. Even with her small victories, the reality of her responsibilities and the uncertainty of her future remained constant companions. One morning she woke to a message from her landlord that rent was overdue, despite her careful saving. She felt a knot in her stomach tighten. Just as she was calculating what she could do, she realized that a payment deadline from her new job application coincided with other pressing bills. It felt impossible to manage everything at once. She spent hours at work trying to meet deadlines and keep her mind occupied. Yet each completed task brought only a temporary relief. The pressure mounted at home as well. Her younger sibling needed help with school, and her parents were both struggling with health concerns. Every day she found herself stretched thinner, her energy dwindling. The hope and determination that had grown over the past weeks now began to waver under the weight of constant responsibility. It was on one particularly exhausting afternoon that the crisis struck. Maya received a call from the office of the new job she had been preparing for. There had been a sudden change in the application process, and she needed to provide documents that she didn't yet have. Without these, the opportunity could slip away. Panic and frustration flooded through her. She felt cornered, unsure how to manage her current obligations along with this sudden demand. She wanted to give up and retreat into what felt safe and familiar. In the midst of this storm, she remembered the stranger, the one who had first helped her on the rainy street and whose words had offered her courage. She hadn't seen him in weeks, but his presence in her memory gave her a small sense of clarity. The thought of someone stepping in, even in a small way, reminded her that help could appear when least expected. She didn't know if he would appear again, but she decided to try reaching out to him, even though she wasn't sure how to contact him. By chance, she ran into him at the city library while searching for documents she needed. Their eyes met and he immediately recognized her. Maya explained her predicament, her voice shaking with anxiety. He listened carefully, nodding, not interrupting, as she laid out the tangled mess of responsibilities and deadlines. After hearing her story, he paused and said softly, "I can help you, but it will require some sacrifice on my part. Are you willing to accept it?" Maya hesitated. She was used to solving her problems alone, often feeling that accepting help meant admitting weakness. But she saw the genuine concern in his eyes and realized that this was not about weakness. It was about survival, about moving forward. She nodded slowly, accepting the unknown support he offered. Over the next few days, the stranger stepped in quietly but decisively. He helped Maya organize her documents, reach out to contacts who could verify her application, and even assisted in resolving some of her urgent financial concerns. He didn't do this for recognition or reward. He asked for nothing in return and simply guided her through the chaos, offering practical support and encouragement. Maya was both grateful and overwhelmed. She had never experienced such selfless assistance, and it made her realize how much she had been carrying alone. During this period, Maya noticed changes in herself as well. Her anxiety began to subside slightly, replaced by a growing confidence that she could handle the challenges before. Achievement but a personal transformation. She realized that she was capable of navigating change, managing responsibilities, and pursuing her dreams with determination. As she prepared for the move to the new city, Maya felt a mix of emotions. There was excitement for the opportunities ahead, a sense of sadness in leaving familiar surroundings, and gratitude for the experiences that had shaped her. She thought about her family, friends, and the stranger who had played a crucial role in her journey. Each had contributed to her growth in unique ways. and she carried their lessons with her as she embarked on this next phase. Maya also reflected on the broader lessons of life she had learned. She recognized that human connections, even with strangers, could create profound impacts. Acts of kindness, empathy, and support were powerful tools that could change the trajectory of someone's life. She understood the importance of giving and receiving help, embracing vulnerability, and approaching challenges with courage and resilience. In the weeks leading up to her departure, Maya organized her life with intention. She completed tasks at work, ensured her family was supported, and packed her belongings with care. She felt a sense of readiness that had been absent in the past. The journey ahead was still unknown, but she no longer feared it. Instead, she approached it with curiosity, confidence, and hope. On her final evening in the city, Maya visited the park where she had met the stranger. She walked along familiar paths, reflecting on her journey. The seasons had changed, the city had shifted, but her growth remained. She sat on the bench, imagining the stranger sitting beside her, offering guidance and calm reassurance. Though he was not there, the lessons he had imparted were deeply ingrained in her heart. Maya's transformation was evident not only in her achievements, but in her perspective on life. She had learned to navigate uncertainty, accept support, offer help, and approach challenges with resilience. The experience had taught her that growth often came from unexpected places, and that human connection was a powerful force for change. She felt a renewed sense of purpose, ready to embrace new opportunities, face obstacles with confidence, and continue evolving as a person. As she watched the sun set over the city, Maya felt a quiet gratitude. She understood that her journey was far from over, but she was prepared to face whatever came next. The stranger's sacrifice had changed the course of her life, not by solving her problems for her, but by giving her the courage, guidance, and perspective to navigate them herself. She carried his lessons with her, determined to honor his influence by living with compassion, resilience, and an openness to both giving and receiving help. Maya knew that life would continue to present challenges, opportunities, and moments of doubt. Yet she felt equipped to handle them with strength and grace. Her journey had been transformed by a simple act of kindness, and she had learned that such acts could ripple outward, touching lives in ways that were impossible to predict. With this understanding, she embraced her future, ready to face new horizons with confidence, hope, and a commitment to making a positive impact on those around her. Maya arrived in the new city carrying a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The streets were unfamiliar, the buildings taller, and the rhythm of life faster than what she had known. Yet, beneath the surface of this bustling environment, she felt a quiet confidence growing within her. Every challenge she had faced in the past months had prepared her for this moment, and she knew that she had the tools to navigate whatever came next. She found her new apartment, modest but comfortable, and began to settle in. The first few days were filled with unpacking, exploring the neighborhood, and adjusting to her new routine. Even mundane tasks like grocery shopping or commuting felt different because she approached them with a sense of purpose and awareness. Maya realized that small actions mattered, that being present and intentional in each moment created a sense of control and balance. Starting her new job was both exciting and intimidating. She met her colleagues, attended meetings, and quickly discovered the challenges of learning new systems and adapting to different workflows. Yet Maya approached these challenges with patience and determination. She reminded herself of the lessons she had learned, to face difficulties calmly, seek guidance when necessary, and trust in her ability to handle whatever came her way. Slowly, she found her place in the workplace, earning respect and forming meaningful connections with her peers. Though she was far from her family and the familiar streets of her old city, Maya did not feel alone. She carried with her the lessons of human kindness and connection, the memory of the stranger who had changed the course of her journey. She found that even in a new city, she could create relationships built on trust, empathy, and understanding. She joined local groups and met people who shared her interests and values. Each new connection reminded her that support could be found in unexpected places, and that opening her heart to others enriched her life. One evening, while walking home from work, Maya saw a small park tucked between tall buildings. The sight reminded her of the park in her old city, where she had first met the stranger. She sat on a bench reflecting on her journey, So much had changed since that rainy evening when a simple act of kindness had altered the direction of her life. She realized that life's most meaningful moments often began with small, selfless actions that rippled outward in ways she could never have imagined. Maya's reflections led her to a deeper understanding of herself. She recognized how much she had grown, not just professionally but emotionally and mentally. She had learned to balance ambition with patience, responsibility with self-care, and independence with the willingness to accept help. Her confidence was not born from success alone, but from the courage to face uncertainty, to persevere, and to embrace growth even in difficult circumstances. She also recognized the importance of giving back. Inspired by the stranger's sacrifice, Maya began looking for ways to make a difference in the lives of others. She volunteered at a community center, mentoring young people and helping them navigate challenges similar to those she had faced. She offered guidance, encouragement, and practical support, always remembering how powerful a small act of kindness could be. The joy and fulfillment she found in helping others reminded her of the true value of human connection and empathy. One afternoon, as Maya was leaving the community center, she encountered a young woman struggling to carry several heavy bags. Without hesitation, Maya stepped forward to help. As she assisted her, she noticed the young woman's weary expression and realized how familiar it looked, like the weight of life pressing down, the same way she had felt months ago. Maya offered a few words of encouragement, listened to her story, and helped her find a solution. In that moment, she understood that the cycle of support and kindness continued, and that she had become a part of it. In the weeks and months that followed, Maya's life continued to evolve. She grew more skilled and confident in her work, deepened her friendships, and strengthened her connections with the local community. She faced new challenges as life inevitably brings, but each one was met with resilience and calmness. Maya had learned that difficulties were not obstacles meant to stop her, but opportunities to grow, adapt, and demonstrate her inner strength. Yet, despite the progress and accomplishments, Maya often thought about the stranger. She wondered where he was, what he was doing, and whether he had known the impact his actions had on her life. She felt a quiet gratitude that went beyond words, a sense of indebtedness not in the material sense but in the way he had opened her eyes to courage, empathy, and the power of human connection. She knew that his selfless act had set into motion the changes that had allowed her to find herself and embrace her journey fully. Maya also reflected on the broader lessons of her experience. She realized that life was unpredictable, that opportunities and challenges could appear suddenly, and that the support of others could make all the difference. She understood that human relationships were a source of strength, that giving and receiving help were both essential parts of growth, and that acts of kindness, no matter how small, could have profound consequences. In her quiet moments, Maya wrote letters to herself, documenting her journey, her thoughts, and the lessons she had learned. She described the challenges she had faced, the fears she had overcome, and the moments of guidance that had changed her life. She knew that these reflections would serve as a reminder in the future, helping her navigate new challenges with the same courage and resilience that had carried her through the past months. As time passed, Maya's accomplishments became evident to those around her. She received recognition at work, earned the trust and respect of her colleagues, and became a valued mentor in her community. Yet she remained humble, remembering the role that support, guidance, and unexpected kindness had played in her journey. She did not seek attention or accolades for the help she received, but quietly celebrated the growth it had inspired within her. One day, while volunteering at a local shelter, Maya received news that a young woman she had mentored had successfully achieved her goal, overcoming obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. The joy and pride Maya felt were immense. She realized that by embracing the lessons she had learned, she had become a source of inspiration and support for others, continuing the cycle of kindness that had begun with the stranger's selfless act. Maya's journey had come full circle. The challenges she had faced, the guidance she had received, and the growth she had experienced had all converged to create a life filled with purpose, resilience, and connection. She understood that life's most meaningful moments often began with small, seemingly ordinary actions that could ripple outward to create extraordinary change. In the quiet evenings, as Maya sat by her window looking at the city lights, she felt a profound sense of gratitude. She was grateful for the stranger who had changed the course of her journey, for her own courage in facing challenges, and for the opportunities to help others along the way. She knew that life would continue to present obstacles and uncertainties, but she felt equipped to handle them with grace, determination, and empathy. Maya understood that her journey was not only about achieving personal success but also about embracing the power of human connection and the impact of selfless acts. She realized that even a brief encounter with someone willing to sacrifice their own comfort for another could alter the trajectory of a life. This awareness inspired her to continue living with kindness, openness, and a willingness to help others whenever possible. As the sun set over the city, Maya smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. She knew that her life had been transformed by the stranger's sacrifice, and she carried that transformation forward in every choice she made, every relationship she nurtured, and every challenge she faced. Her journey was a testament to the power of compassion, resilience, and the unexpected ways in which people can change each other's lives. Maya's story was no longer just about her struggles and successes. It had become a story about the ripple effects of kindness, the importance of human connection, and the lasting impact of selfless acts. She had learned that life's greatest lessons often came from unexpected places, and that courage, empathy, and perseverance could shape a future full of hope, purpose, and meaningful connections. In the end, Maya embraced her life fully, knowing that the stranger's sacrifice had not only altered her journey but had also inspired her to carry that same spirit forward. She became a beacon of support and kindness for those around her, understanding that even the smallest gestures could create profound change. Her life, once uncertain and burdened, was now filled with possibility, hope, and the enduring power of compassion.